Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the RotoBaller Radio Waiver Wire Series. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano. Happy to be with you here today as we take a look at some pitchers available on the waiver wire for Fantasy Baseball Week 10, the week beginning Monday, June 13th. And folks, don't forget to win big in 2022 with rotoballer.com's MLB and DFS Premium Pass, which includes 15 exclusive lineup tools, daily DFS cheat sheets, and our new Team Sync platform. Use RotoBaller's exclusive hitter projections, pitching planners, DFS value plays, research stations, lineup optimizer, and more to help you win big. For a limited time, get me your MLB Premium Pass for an extra 10% off using the discount code ACES. Head over to rotoballer.com, sign up today, and start rotoballing like a boss. All right, everybody. Week 10, the week beginning Monday, June 13th is upon us. Hopefully you already checked out the hitter waiver wire video. Now time to talk some pitchers. And guys, don't forget, while you're doing that, don't forget to like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Check out all the great content courtesy of rotoballer.com. Download the RotoBaller app onto your phone. Get all the latest news, information, and articles courtesy of the team over at rotoballer.com for whatever sport, baseball, football, basketball, you name it. rotoballer.com has it for you. As always, disclosure time using Yahoo roster percentages as always at or below 40%. And full disclosure, I am recording on Friday, June 10th, before the start of the Friday night games. So obviously any stats could change, injuries can develop between now and when you watch this video. I got 4 starters for you today and 3 bullpen arms to be mindful of as you get ready to work the waiver wire. And the first starter out of Cincinnati. And no, it's not Hunter Green, who's only 41% rostered, but we've talked about him too much. We know he should be on teams just for his strikeout potential. But Graham Ashcraft of the Cincinnati Reds, I streamed him this past week. He gave me a win. He gave me 0 earned runs. Didn't give me many strikeouts, but he gave me a few nice things. Graham Ashcraft is 33% rostered on Yahoo. And I understand there's things people don't like. On the season, 13 strikeouts in 23 and 2/3 innings. Okay? That's under 5 Ks per 9. Over his last 19 and a third, only 10 strikeouts. So I get it. People immediately be like, Anthony, you're talking to me about a pitcher who's striking out less than 5 batters per 9 innings. At any point, this could blow up. And I don't necessarily disagree, but I am going to ride the hot hand while I could. He does have 3 wins over the last 14 days. So he goes out there and gives a better than a quality start every single game so far this season. His ERA over the last 14 days, over his last 19 innings, is 0.47. His ERA on the season, 23 and 2/3 innings, is 1.14. Now, his expected ERA, it's going to go up, his ERA, but his expected ERA, even with those fewer strikeouts, is 3.13. That's a good number. Not a number I shy away from. 3.13 expected ERA. If you give me that over a full season, that's fantasy viable pitcher, ladies and gentlemen. His whip over the last 14 days, 19 innings, is 0.72. And his whip on the season is 0.85. So even though he doesn't strike out a lot, he doesn't walk a lot either, not giving up a lot of hits. So because of that, he's keeping your ratios down, keeping the whip down. Batting average against, lowest batting average of any of the starters I mentioned here today, of 176. So there are numbers there. I get it. You want to run away because of the K rate? I understand. But it's tough to ignore the ERA. It's tough to ignore the whip. And it's tough to ignore that batting average against. Next start, June 12th. Now, it's against the Cardinals. So maybe you get him on your roster and you don't necessarily utilize him. But if he throws a gem on the 12th, that's Sunday, before waivers run, see how he does on that Sunday, June 12th. If you like it, you increase your bid. If you don't like it, you decrease or take your bid out. But either way, Sunday, June 12th, keep an eye on this Reds-Cardinal game and see what you get out of Ashcraft before his next start, which would be roughly around June 19th. Second starter on my list, another young player, Josiah Gray, who I mentioned much earlier in the year, and it's time to revisit it. 41% roster. Now, you may say to me, Anthony, he's got a 4.33 ERA, he's got a .466 expected ERA. His whip is 1.32. What are you talking about? What I'm talking about is shrink that sample size and look at him over the last 2 weeks. Look at him on his last 3 starts, which is 16 innings. Okay? On the season, 69 strikeouts, 62 and a third. Over that shrunken time span, okay, 16 innings, last 14 days, 18 Ks. It's 10.13 Ks per 9. Over those last 16 innings, over the last 14 days, that ERA is 1.13. Over those last 16 innings, okay, his whip is 1.19. And on the season, the batting average against is more than respectable, 2.27. He's had some bad outings. He's had some blow-ups. I've had him on rosters, and don't get me wrong, there's been temptation to drop, but I've avoided that temptation, and now it's paying off for me. Over the last 2 weeks, his last 3 starts have been terrific. I've been able to utilize him. Okay, tough to get wins for the Nationals, but the strikeouts are there, the ratios are there, and Josiah Gray pitching well. Next start is Monday, June 13th against the hot Atlanta Braves. Alex Faedo, probably mispronouncing it, but I'm not going to mispronounce the numbers. The rookie from the Detroit Tigers. He's another one who has been outstanding. Him and Tariq Skubal heading that Tiger rotation. Now, he's only 9% rostered, okay? On the season now, again, not a high strikeout guy, similar to Ashcraft. A little better than him, but by no means a K-dominant pitcher. 28 strikeouts in 37 innings on the season, although better over the last 14 days with 14 Ks over his last 16. Okay, that's 7.8 or 7.9 Ks per 9 innings over the last 2 weeks. On the season, striking about 18.5% of the batters he faced. Now, what do I like? I love the ERA over that time period. On the season, it's 2.92. Over the last 14 days, it's 2.81. Now, the expected ERA is high, so there might be some rough times ahead. But the whip has been acceptable over the last 14 at 1.13. Batting average against sits at 2.52. Next start, Monday, June 13th, against the White Sox. And finally, the oldest of the pitchers on my list, Zach Davies of the Arizona Diamondbacks, has pitched very good of late. Feel the need to mention him. Over his last 19 innings, 18 strikeouts and a 2.84 ERA and a whip of 0.95. Davies only 6% rostered. If you're desperate for a starter, his next one is coming up on June 14th. Striking out 19% of the batters he has faced this season. 50 strikeouts in 62 innings. Now, he's the reverse of Alex Faedo of Detroit. His ERA on the season sits at 4.21. However, he's pitched to some bad luck with a 3.76 expected ERA. So he's kind of pitching more to what it's expected over the last 14 days with that 2.84 ERA over those last 19 innings. Batting average against a respectable 2.33, and his whip sits at 1.24. If I'm ranking them, I'm going Gray 1, Ashcraft 2, Faedo 3, and Zach Davies 4. Now, as far as bullpens goes, if you need a dominant, strikeout-heavy middle reliever, not going to get you saves, maybe a few holds, but you guy you could keep in your lineup as you rotate other starters in and out and keep them in to keep ratios down. I always try to give you at least one of these guys. Eli Morgan of the Cleveland Guardians, 14% roster. He's got 34 strikeouts on the season in 27 2/3 innings. Over the last 14 days, 10 strikeouts over his last 7 2/3. Striking out 35% of the batters he faces this year. Over his last 14 days, which is a little over 7 innings, 7 2/3, he's got an ERA of 0. On the season, his ERA is 1.95. His whip, 0.51 on the season. And the batting average against a dominant, 0.111. Eli Morgan has been lights out. Now, not many chances to close for Cleveland. I understand that. Manuel Clays is lights out at the back end of that Guardians bullpen. But Eli Morgan, in high leverage situations, middle relief situations, has been dominant. I always like to have 3 closers and 1 or 2 middle relievers that stay in as I rotate my other starters in and out. Eli Morgan, at only 14% rostered, can be that middle reliever that you bring in and stream and then leave him in for a week. And if he gives you 4 or 5 innings at that strikeout rate with that ERA, he's going to help. Andrew Kittredge is back on the injured list for the Tampa Bay Rays. So we're back to that closer carousel. As of this recording, the last save recorded by Tampa was Jason Adam, who I did mention a few weeks ago, but I'll mention him again. Got the last save that Tampa earned just the other night. Gives him 2 saves on the season. On the year, 30 strikeouts in 25 innings, 6 strikeouts over his last 6 1/3. Okay, that is 33% on the season. 33% of the batters he faces, he strikes out. 1 out of every 3. ERA over the last 14 days is 0. ERA on the season is 0.72 with a whip of 0.64 on the season. Expected ERA on the season is 146. Flat out dominant. Batting average against an even 100. 1 out of every 10 batters gets a hit off of Jason Adam. That's how dominant he has been. He got the last save for Tampa. Now, we always got to keep an eye on how Tampa handles their bullpen. But with Kittredge out, more save opportunities can come Jason Adams' way. And finally, Seattle's bullpen. Okay, Paul Sewald's had a couple of saves of late. So has Diego Castillo. And Diego Castillo, forget about looking at the whole season, has been terrific over the last 14 days. Over those 14 days, 2 saves, an ERA of 0, a whip of 0.33. That's over 6 innings. In those 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, about 15 Ks per 9. Now, I say don't worry about the whole season because the whole season ERA looks terrible. It's 5.57. The whip looks terrible at 1.43. Now, on the season, that 5.57 ERA is actually less damaging than you realize when you consider his expected ERA on the season is only 3.06. So he pitched to some bad luck earlier in the season, but he's been terrific of late, especially over those last 6 innings. On the season, 26 strikeouts and 21 innings pitched. A batting average against of 256. That's from a few rough outings, but he's up to 4 saves on the year, 2 over the last 14 days, and an ERA of 0 over that span. So Castillo, Jason Adam if you're hunting saves, Eli Morgan if you're looking for a dominant middle reliever. All right, everybody. Like I said at the start, head over to rotoballer.com, check it all out, download the app, like and subscribe right here to the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the hitter video as well. Follow me on Twitter at Aniano Fantasy. We will see you next week with our usual waiver wire work. And as well as that, stay smart, stay safe, and we'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.